in Footloose, which is this newest Stage North production of the musical dance comedy. It's happening November, pardon me, I'm getting ahead of myself, October 27th and 28th, and then November 2nd to the 4th over at the North Peace Cultural Center. Good morning to you, Elan.
Morning.
And to Steve.
Morning, Dub.
All right. Well, you're both in the play. Elan, you're playing Ariel.
Ariel, yeah.
And Steve, you're playing the
Reverend Shaw Moore,
Thank you.
the villain of this production. I do have a redemption arc in which maybe at the end I turn into a half-decent guy, but pretty much the entire time.
See.
Yeah,
We'll see.
pretty much I'm a jerk who's no fun and trying to hold an entire town under my iron fist.
Right. And I mean, I think a lot of people have seen this movie. I will admit up front that I have not. So, if I sound lost, that's why. But for the people like me who don't know anything about this, tell us what Footloose is all about, if you don't mind.
It's the classic coming-of-age story in which young people are trying to kind of outgrow and move beyond their parents. It's got some comedy, it's got some dramatic scenes, and it's got a bunch of great music from the 1980s, and it's a fun time, right?
Yeah, and lots of dancing, if I remember right.
Yeah, so it's basically about this small town called Beaumont where dancing is outlawed because it leads to a whole bunch of bad things.
Yeah.
And then we have a boy named Ren come from Chicago, and he kind of says, "This is weird. We should get dancing back on the table." And then an uproar and everything happens, and then there is dancing eventually. So, yeah.
So there's dancing about how we're not allowed to dance, essentially.
Yeah.
I see. Okay. I love the rebellion aspect of that. Elan, as I understand it, you grew up in Fort St. John and moved away and come back. This is sort of is this your first production with Stage North, or your first since you've been back?
It's kind of my first, since I've been back, or first biggest one. I think that I did some little ensemble stuff in James and the Giant Peach way back then.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
But yeah, so I was from Fort St. John, and then I went to Victoria. For 3 years, I studied at the Canadian College of Performing Arts.
Okay.
Yeah, and then I came back and kind of just been around for 2 years. And I guess this is the first big thing since COVID for Stage North, and I was I gotta be in on it. So yeah, this is my first big musical with Stage North.
Wonderful. And I assume then you studied singing, dancing,
Yeah, I studied
acting,
performing arts there, yeah.
Yeah. And Steve, I mean, we were in The Outsider together, whatever that, I guess a year ago now. It's hard to believe. Tell me a bit about your journey kind of coming to this role now, because you've done a bit of acting with me here and there.
Yeah, I'm the classic, came to Fort St. John for 6 weeks for work, and now it's over a decade later, still here. And
sorry, Steve, you don't mind, just lean into that mic a little more. Thank you, sir.
Sorry about that.
That's okay.
Look at that. I was so good at following instructions. No, I came here for 6 weeks over a decade ago, still here, did a bunch of theater and improv musical theater in high school, and got busy with work and life and family, and kind of stepped back into it this last year, and have been really, really engaged with Stage North and having an awesome time. It's a wonderful experience. It's a great way to connect with like-minded people in the community, to feel involved, to have something healthy as a hobby, and an awesome way to spend your time and connect with people.
Mm-hmm. Now, a show like this can be, I imagine, a little intimidating because you're following the footsteps of something that's very famous. I mean, this is Kevin Bacon was in this movie, right?
That's right.
Yeah.
I'm so ashamed right now. Anyway, and it's a movie that's very well known. So I guess, how do you as performers say, we want to obviously have this be, recognizable to people who come watch it, but put your own spin on it. Make sure you're in it, and the director and sort of, that part of it, so that it's your musical, even though it's based on something that's already so famous.
Yeah, well, I watched both the movies, and I was I need to study these a bit, but kind of taking my own spin on the character. I guess I would like to pay tribute to how they were originally played, but then adding on my own touches, as well as adding Emery's great direction and everything. And yeah, that's how I feel about Ariel. I'm not sure.
Yeah, and I think a piece of any role you play is a part of you and your own life experiences and your own observations, and kind of whether you stay really true to source material or just kind of put your own self out there in that sort of project that life experience or those challenges or successes, all those sorts of things that have made up your life story.
Mm-hmm. What do you think is your, without spoiling the end or anything for people who don't know it. What do you think's your favorite part about doing this so far? Has it been the kind of big numbers? Has it been the kind of intimate moments between actors on stage? What do you think, Elan?
I mean, I love the little intimate moments and getting to play like off of each other and everything. I grew up dancing. I've danced since the age of 3.
Okay.
So I just love these big dance numbers. We have a couple, the Footloose finale and the barbecue bar dance. Those ones are mainly about dancing specifically, and I just have so much fun in those ones.
Mm-hmm. And a similar question to you, Steve. I mean, how much dancing had you done before the show? Was that something you'd done a lot of?
Not at all. So as your token middle-aged dad, I happen to fit really well into the role as the person who doesn't dance and doesn't encourage dancing because I'm just terrible at it. So from an entertainment value, if you want to see a guy stumble around and try his best, lots of enthusiasm, but maybe not the best of execution, please get some tickets. But my favorite parts are kind of more like there's over 40 members in the cast.
Yeah, it's a huge cast.
Very much so. And so we've had a lot of like segregated rehearsals in which we're all split apart. So seeing everything come together now and finding that like those funny moments or that joy or that intimacy in scenes that I'm not even in, but just get to observe for the first time and see how people have created things and the connections between actors and just like these small bits. There's this one scene with the manager of the local drive-in, and it is just like I have a hard time keeping a straight face, and we're supposed to be silent in the wings, and I'm just cackling like an idiot because it's just so funny and it's so perfectly done, and it's, I don't know, 5 minutes long, but it is probably one of the best things in the entire thing. So it's awesome.
Awesome. It's going to be an excellent show. I've heard tickets are going fast, so you're going to want to get on this ASAP if you want to go see the kind of return of the big musical for Stage North. Again, October 27th and 28th and November 2nd to the 4th at the North Peace Cultural Center. That's all evenings. Matinee on the 4th as well.
Yeah, at 1 o'clock.
At 1 o'clock. And those tickets available now at npcc.bc.ca or give a call to the North Peace Cultural Center box office. Again, they're going fast. Anything else you guys want to say before I let you go this morning?
I'd like to say thank you to the community in general. We've sold over 700 tickets so far, which is
amazing.
Big numbers for a production like this. And like the community comes out to support events like this. It is a fun evening out. It's a great time, whether you're out with your family, you're out on a date, any of those sorts of things. But like from companies like Solaris that provides a wonderful space for us to rehearse in, like it's very heartwarming to see that something that like the arts in its many different forms is supported so thoroughly by this community and its members, because it wouldn't exist without that support, because it's not financially feasible to put on productions like this because there's a cost associated with it, even just from the rights, let alone the sets and costuming and all these other components, and it just wouldn't happen. Community theater would die without support of people coming out, and it is our obligation or our job to respect people and their time and put on the best show we possibly can for them to not only have satisfaction that time, but encourage them to come out or encourage them to come and participate too. There's upcoming shows. There'll be the Johnny Cash Ring of Fire next February. There'll be auditions for that posted. Follow Stage North on social media for those updates, and just get engaged, have fun. And you don't have to be on stage. You can be involved in set construction. You can be involved in behind the scenes through stage management, through props, through costuming. There's a lot of different opportunities for people to be involved and have something that's really fulfilling.
Awesome. It's going to be a great show. Elan, Steve, thank you so much for coming by and talking about this today.
Thank you for having us.
You're very welcome. Again, that's Footloose at the North Peace Cultural Center, presented by Stage North, October 27th and 28th and November 2nd to the 4th.